Welcome everyone. Today we're gonna be chatting about lots of fun things. I'm gonna just talk through the event guidelines and then we'll get started. One, video, you will not appear in the video. This event is mute courtesy. Your audio will be muted during the event, but don't worry, if you have questions, just submit them in the Q&A section in the bottom of your screen. If you want to enable closed captioning, it is available. To turn it on, click on the live transcription icon at the bottom of your screen and select your preference. All right, we're going to do a quick round of introductions, followed by great updates from our team. The agenda includes event chat deep dive, organizer app deep dive, Tech 2023 at a super high level, and we're going to save 10 to 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. So it's a jam-packed agenda, lots of good things to come. But first things first, we're going to do a quick introduction. So I'll start from my side. My name is Rajib Ahmed. I'm the CTO, CPO here. I've joined Meetup since 2020, and I'm an organizer of two groups myself. And the last activity as a Meetup event that I've gone to was the World Cup final game. So that was a fun activity where it was super exciting. So I'm going to go around the room. We're going to have each person introduce themselves and each person tell us the most exciting Meetup event you went to in 2022. All right. Who wants to go first? Prerna, I'll let you start with, why don't you start off?
All right. Hi, everybody. I am Prerna Singh. I'm the VP of Product. I've been at Meetup for a little over 2 years. I beat Urji by a couple months. And the most exciting 2022 event I went to was a art tour at the Met here in New York City. And it was a ton of fun. All right, pass it over to JT.
Hi, everyone. Johnson Tang, also known as JT, product manager here at Meetup. Been here for under 2 years. Most exciting Meetup event, I would say, was in Vancouver over the summer. I decided to just spend the summer or a month there working from there, and I didn't know anyone. So I used Meetup to meet folks and ended up at an event where there was a fireworks competition between Spain, Japan, and Canada, and that was super amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Ashley?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley DeGianelli. I'm one of our senior product managers, and I've been with Meetup for just over a year. And the best Meetup event I went to was the Rehoboth Sea Witch Festival. I was able to meet up with a bunch of other women in the area and walk around and saw some really amazing dog costumes that were really intricately made.
All right, Prerna, Ashley, JT, thank you. All of us here, we love to make Meetup better, but we also go to many Meetup events, and you're going to see all the contributions in 2022 and a bit of 2023 as well. So we're very excited to share all the details here. I will hand off to Prerna next.
Okay. Hi, everybody. What I wanted to do is just take you through some updates from our team. We've had a really busy second half of 2022 and launched lots of really exciting features. And so we want to give you some updates. So with that said, let's get into it. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about group tipping. We've talked about this as a feature. We launched this earlier this summer. And just to kind of give you a reminder, this was in a response to feedback we had gotten from organizers that organizing on Meetup can be costly, both from costs that you might directly incur, like providing food and drinks at your event, to indirect costs like the time and energy you invest in making Meetup events happen. So we launched group tipping as a feature that allows organizers to set up a completely optional fundraising campaign to help offset some of those costs by receiving voluntary contributions from members in your group. Setup's pretty easy as we've partnered with a service called Pledge. If you want to start fundraising for your Meetup group, all you have to do is just sign up for a free Pledge account and enter in your bank deposit information. And then when people make donations, process of actually receiving those funds is pretty hassle-free. Just to kind of give you all an update, we launched this about 6 months ago. And since then, we've had over $120,000 donated by members to organizers on our platform, which is huge. I literally, we crossed that amount this morning. I checked. And so really excited about both the fact that we can facilitate this and that members are so eager to show their appreciation to organizers on our platform. And we're seeing the average donation amount be around $16, which is really great and really helps, again, with organizers to help offset maybe their Meetup subscription costs and other costs that they're incurring. If you're interested in learning more about how to use Pledge, how to set it up, or how other organizers have been using it, we're launching a new series on Meetup Live in the new year called Monetizing Meetup. So look for a Meetup live event on group tipping, probably sometime in February, when we'll have lots of really sort of great panel discussions and how you can leverage it for your group. Okay, next. I want to give a quick update on the organizer app. This is one of our biggest highlights from the product team this year. We made this app publicly available at the start of the summer, and since then we've been working on several really great new features. And JT actually will be going into a lot more detail about the organizer app, what the vision is with the app, and how you can leverage all of the cool features and where we're headed. But for right now, I just wanted to call out a couple of really cool features we launched recently, including the ability to check in members to your event with just a really quick swipe. So really some fun interactions. And then the ability to also manage your attendees, including who's paid and who hasn't shown up. This is, again, really brief highlight of a bunch of other features that we've been working on in the last few months, but JT, I don't want to take JT's thunder away from him, so he'll go into more detail about each of these things. All right, moving on. We know how important getting feedback is after you host an event. It helps you understand what went well and how you can improve for future events. So on the organizer app, we've made this information more accessible. And now you can see both the average ratings for all your events on your group homepage. And you can also see ratings for a single event on the event info screen, all within the organizer app. And it links, and you can see more detailed feedback with a link in the organizer app. But we're not stopping there. There's a lot more here to come in the new year. We're going to be adding a new event feedback modal to the member app. That'll include some new feedback questions, including an open text field. So you'll be able to get richer responses from your members after they've attended an event and get a little bit more robust information about what's going well and what could be improved for next time. And with that change on the member side, we'll also be updating the feedback summary page with all of that sort of new content and the new sort of survey responses, so you can see exactly what your members are saying about your events. Okay, next up. I want to talk a little bit about event chat. This is another area where we're going to be doing a deep dive later into this presentation, and Ashley will be taking you through that. But for now, I just want to talk a little bit about, sort of the goal behind event chat was to help streamline communication on Meetup and make it really easy to have that real-time communication. For now, what I wanted to share is that we've built a lot of features that allow you to comment, mention, reply, emoji react, upload photos, all within the context of an event. Since we rolled this out to 100% of members and organizers a month ago, we've seen over 700,000 active chat participants just this month alone, and it keeps increasing, which is really, really cool to see how many members are taking advantage of this feature. And we've sent over 180,000 messages have been sent so far, again, just this month alone. Looks like it's like about an average of 10,000 messages being sent a day. So really, really cool engagement from folks using event chat. We've also seen really great organizer adoption in that time, and we're hoping to continue to iterate features to make this a very valuable experience for organizers and members alike. And Ashley, again, like I said, will be going more into detail about that. Okay, next up. On the web, we recently revamped our photo albums UI to make it a lot easier to view and edit photos on desktop and mobile web. The new album viewer, you can see some of the screenshots at the top, allows you to go through photos really quickly and easily, which is helpful, especially if you have a group with lots of different photo content. You can also preview your photos in the album in a carousel view. We know we still have some work to do here. We're not fully finished rolling out this feature. We're working on adding photo captions and commenting features to this experience, all of which are coming in the new year. And you can see a couple of screenshots of how we're looking at it, but should be coming soon. And then lastly, for me, I just want to share an exciting new feature for our pro organizers on the web. Pro organizers can now add a speaker to their events in the event create experience. And along with that, they can add a speaker photo, a bio, as well as social media profile links that are all then displayed on the event page when a member is viewing that event. So really trying to create different types of content that allows members to kind of see what the event is about. And so we're hoping that this speaker profile will really help elevate what the event is all about. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ashley to talk about event chat.
Hi, everyone. Next slide. All right, so why do we do event chat? Can you click? It doesn't look like everything loaded up. There we go. Sorry about that. Animation carried over that I didn't expect. So we wanted to enable members and organizers to connect before, during, and after an event in a real time or as close to real time messaging solution as possible. It's something we heard a lot from organizers, is that they would sometimes miss event comments that had come in at the start of an event. And for some events, like a hiking group, that can mean that someone misses your group entirely if you're not aware that they're a few minutes behind. So we wanted to make a real-time connection possible. It's available on all platforms. So it's available on web, the member and organizer apps, and it allows us to make frequent updates and improvements. We have some communication tools that exist on the site that have been lacking in attention and updates for a long time. And sometimes technology-wise, it's sort of easier to start over than it is to get something up to modern day technology stacks and make it more efficient. So this is our improvement capabilities. Next slide. All right, so our vision for event chat is an easy to use real-time communication tool that fosters community and streamlines communication across Meetup. To me, event chat is sort of just the beginning of enabling us to sort of meet members and organizers the way that we live now in 2022 and soon to be 2023. You know, in the 60s, we thought it'd be like the Jetsons with flying cars, but in reality, it's really more like we have these personal devices that we're all very connected to. And so we want to take advantage of that and use that to help you create the connections and community that you came to Meetup for in the first place. Next slide. Okay, so I wanted to share some examples of uses for event chat that I think are really interesting and really exciting and sort of what it's leading us to do. So this chat is from a group that is actually run by a product designer on our product team. And they found in their group, they run a lettering group. And so they'll share a file of what they're going to work on. And spontaneously, their members started to share the photos of what they had done during the event with each other. And they started to get feedback and share that it was harder than they thought or easier than they thought it would be. And it's just a really great opportunity to sort of share an activity together, even if you're an online group, and sort of share the results of that activity that you've done together. And so something that we know, we've heard, and we are investigating is how can we incorporate threading into event chat and make it so that it's easier to sort of have singular conversations on the side in the event chat without sort of blowing up the entire event chat. Next slide. Okay, so some groups have used event chat to like artificially pull members. I say artificially because it's not as easy as sort of selecting their choice. They have to respond with their response. But this is an example of a book club leveraging event chat to sort of figure out what is the next book that they should read together. And something that we've seen a lot of groups leverage. We also saw it in event comments as well. And so we think creating an actual polling feature within chat would be really beneficial for organizers and allow you to sort of get a pulse check of what your members want. So this example, it's picking a book, but another example might be, hey, I'm going to schedule the next event. Here are some dates and times, like what works for you. We know that that's a big part of running a successful meeting group is finding a date and time that works for your members. And we want to try to make that as simple as possible. All right. The last example I wanted to share is sharing important information. So this example is from one of our hiking groups saying like, hey, it's going to be really cold this morning when we go on our hike. So please dress warmly. You know, and someone was saying, oh, it's too cold for me, I'm not joining. And so I think this is a great thing. And we've heard this want from organizers as well, which is the ability to pin a message so that it's easier to see, members can spot it right away for important details. Another piece that we're looking to investigate is how can we give organizers more control over event chat? So I know that's something that a lot of organizers are looking for. Some groups feel that maybe event chat isn't super helpful for them or not helpful for every event, and they want to be able to turn it off. So we're going to be investigating how to create that level of control for event chat. And I'll pass it over to JT.
Thanks, Ashley. Hi, everyone. Hope you're staying healthy and safe this holiday season. I'll now walk us through what we've been up to with the Meetup for Organizer app. Next slide, please. Animation, yes, thank you. All right, so before I dive in, we still sometimes get the question, why did you build a separate app? Well, it's because the needs of the Meetup members and the needs of the Meetup organizer are really quite different, right? So by designing and rebuilding all the organizer tools from the ground up, we're able to give you a more streamlined and stable experience, along with features that are more specific for the mobile device. And most importantly, in my opinion, we can actually fix issues and launch new features much more quickly, right? Because otherwise, if it's all in one app, what we're doing is we're just competing with the member features. So this allows us to spend more time in the Meetup app, getting members to join an RSVP and show up to your events. And that means we have a team dedicated to the organizers. Next slide, please. So we've been rolling out a new version of the organizer app almost every 2 weeks, right? So I'll give you a recap next, but our vision has always been giving you a one-stop shop designed just for organizers, as well as your leadership team, and more recently, your event hosts as well can use the organizer app. All right, so there's one-stop shop that lets you manage all your events, your attendees, and communicate with your members on the go. Next slide, please. Okay, so with the organizer app, and it's come a long way, like I mentioned, we've been launching things every 2 weeks. Our first goal was to give you a way to create events more easily, right? So for example, organizers wanted a way to search past events so they can save time by copying them instead of recreating them from scratch. So you can do that in the organizer app. You also have many optional settings like limiting attendees and guests, asking questions, from members when they RSVP, helping members feel safer by adding COVID safety measures, and also setting event fees, which our organizers have told us has helped with accountability and actually lower the no-show rates. Things that we're looking into based on feedback. We know that many organizers would love to edit recurring events just in one shot. So definitely this is top of mind. We also know that right now there's more clicks than necessary to create the event. So we're definitely looking into streamlining that experience some more. And pro organizers, we know that pro organizers, more and more of them are using the organizer app. So we actually want to service them better and start thinking about what are those pro features that pro organizers want to see on the go. Next slide, please. Our second goal was to give organizers a better way of managing your events and attendees. All right, so for example, if you have multiple upcoming events, you can now pin an event to the top, right? Like the one you want to keep highlighted, and this will stay at the top of your group page until that event happens. That's something you can do today. Also, you can see who's RSVP'd, who's paid, haven't paid, who's also attending one of your events for the first time. So these are all in service of helping you manage your events better. Prerna already mentioned you can check in attendees. When you check them in, you can mark no-shows. You can also update their payment status. You can even add yes on the fly if they brought yes last minute. Now, things that we're also thinking about next, we know that check-in could be faster, especially for really, really large events, right? So we're looking into ways on how we can actually make the check-in process even more seamless and easier. Also, photo editing, we've heard a lot of feedback about being able to edit and crop photos much more easily right in the app. So we're also looking into that. Next slide, please. Okay. Another thing that's important is to cultivate the community, right? So we want to provide tools and ways for organizers to engage with your members on the go. So you can email your members in the organizer app. Like Ashley mentioned, chat is huge. We also even put all the chat threads into one section, this new section called messages. So you don't have to go into each event to go into the chat. You can just jump from chat message, just like any other messaging app that you use on your phone. And like Prerna mentioned, seeing the event ratings and feedback summary in the app. Things that we're looking into, group tipping has been very successful on the web. So we want to make it easier for you to also set that up in the organizer app. And this one is huge, right? Direct messaging. So event chat right now is based on event, but something we know is very much asked for is one-to-one messaging with your members. Next slide. Okay, and then lastly, we want to help you stay on top of your members, right? So in the organizer app, you can pull up all your members, you can search, you can sort them. You can see when they actually last viewed your group to get a sense of how active they are. You can also assign leadership team members and also event hosts from this screen. You can also remove members from your group from here, and then get notifications when members join an RSVP. Things that we're looking into, member stats, right? So again, when you take attendance, marking no-shows, people showing up, all of this data we are actually saving. So the vision is, how do we actually bubble that information back up to the organizers to help them understand the community better? And again, also pro organizers, we're looking into how to support them in more ways. Next slide, please. Okay, so that is it. If you haven't downloaded the app, please pull out your phone, scan this QR code. Again, this isn't just for organizers. All your leadership team members, even your event hosts, right, can actually use the app. While you're scanning and downloading this, I'll just give a plug out for the next Meetup Live. we'll actually have guest organizer speakers. So it's not just talking heads from Meetup. We'll actually have organizers at our next Meetup event. So keep an eye out on the Meetup Live group for announcements. Thanks, everyone.
All right. JT, Ashley, Prerna, great updates. I think this 2022 was definitely filled with tons of releases that are super important and super valuable. These upgrades were fantastic. So I will talk a little bit about tech at Meetup in 2023. This is a combination of how we are looking at 2023 from a product side, from the technology side, lots of different things that we want to enable for the success of our members and organizers. And there's basically 4 buckets that I'm looking at this. One is discovery, second one is tools and insights, the third one is notifications, and of course, the most exciting for me is security. So I'll talk about each of this in 2023 at a very high level of how we're shaping this, what we're thinking, research involved as we look to shape these in 2023. So the first one is around discovery. We want to make sure that within our platform and off platform, we do all the right things so that members can find events, they can find the groups, they're able to RSVP. And we know the discovery of these things are really important to the signals we need to give to the search engines. So we will be continuing to make sure that from a discovery perspective, for how you can find this on mobile web, where we know our audience is growing, that with search engines, not just Google, but Yahoo, but Bing, we're sending the right signals, they understand what events are there, and they're easily discoverable, ultimately making sure that folks can find what the Meetup events and groups that they're looking for. But we also know that we need to improve this on our internal search. So along with many internal search features for our algorithms that we're going to be improving, our matching capabilities that we're going to be improving, we're also going to be advancing how we're giving our personalized recommendations. So across our apps and our different areas, as we learn about what is right for the members to be able to get them to match based on their interests, we're always updating our mechanisms to be able to give the best results so that we can deliver on what you're looking for. On the tool side, we are going to continue to expand on our tools on native apps and on web. Whether they're organizer tools or they're on the member side, we'll be looking to making sure that we expand on what we have today and making them better, as well as delivering insights the best way we can. So again, I think you've heard a lot about what we've already done, but we know it doesn't end there. We have to continue making it even better and listening to all the feedback that you provide and bringing that back into 2023. So some of the revamps and continued improvements that we're looking into, it's of course chat. You've heard about the threading and different things there. We brought maps into our roadmap. We're going to look at how we can make that more accurate in terms of recommendations or just improvements towards the recommendations. Check-in, automating that the best we can. We know right now some things are manual. JT shared that the organizers have to check them in through the app, but we want to make sure that that is as easy as possible, and it can happen on both the member organically in a way that fulfills that need. Ticketing is something that we know is very important, and from international capabilities, we're already starting the research into how we can advance things there. So really exciting on what will come in 2023 for ticketing. We know that moderation on many different levels, organizers have asked for the ability to moderate many different things in higher capabilities. That's something we've also started researching. Some work has already started that we'll start seeing in Q1. Messaging, you've heard about that. We're going to continue to see how we can improve that and bring the experience across native apps. Photo comments, as Prerna mentioned earlier, is coming in Q1. So we're very excited and we've heard your feedback. And we know that comments on the photos are super important to everyone. So we've already started work on that as well. And the last one I'll say is we know that today for organizers, one of the mechanisms of ticketing and the payments that we support are through PayPal. And there's a request to see what else we can give there, whether it's Venmo and different things. So there's a lot of activity that we want to do based on that to give capabilities there. As far as insights, we want to be able to deliver more organizer insights that we can. There's a lot of data that we have and we want to surface it to our organizers in the best way we can. and we're looking at bringing in dashboarding features in order to do that. Ashley is leading a lot of the charges on this, on the research, so super excited on what's to come. It takes a ton of work. We get a ton of feedback from so many organizers, and we want to make sure what we put out there delivers to exactly the majority. And so we will be putting a lot of research time into this because it's so important. Notification stats. There's a lot of stats about notifications that we want to put in front of you. We know it's important, and the more we can share that you can get on your fingertips, we know that's going to be important. And the last thing is we're going to look at local community trends. We're researching what we can do over here for things that are happening around your local community. We launched neighborhoods. We've done different things where we put recommendations to all our members, but we want to continue to improve that in the best way we can. So really exciting stuff here. A lot of it is in research. Some things will be definitely what we execute. Some things will be things we need to learn more on, but we wanted to put everything on the table of what we're looking at because they're so important in 2023. All right, so on the conversation of notifications, there's three things that we're going to be focusing on. One is smarter notifications, which means trigger-based, whether they're push or email, that ultimately is to take the information and reach the member at the right time. That is so important because I don't know about you all, but getting a 2 a.m. notification doesn't really work for me. So the timing of notifications we know is really important. That doesn't mean we don't do smart notifications today. We're just going to be doing smarter notifications in 2023. From a personalization aspect, we're continuing to ensure that the recommendations we give are always going to be improving with our algorithms and machine learning capabilities. That's going to continue in the discovery process. And signals, we want to continue to take not just interests, but successful events and different type of signals that could feed back into our recommendations for our local communities. And that's something we're going to continue to leverage. All right. And lastly, security. We want to make sure we keep our data and infrastructure as secure as we scale. And so there's always going to be security scans and remediations. This is an ongoing need that we always have. Cybersecurity enhancements and compliance. We've consistently done this in 2021, 2022, and we'll continue to do this in the future. Software hardening practices that we're going to execute on the tech side. Accessibility needs. We're already involved in this. And then there's also data archiving, GDPR compliance, and all the things around data privacy that we're always executing on. These are always top of mind. I did not want to leave them out. As part of 2023, this is 100% still a focus. And I wanted to put it out there as well because it's so critical. So on that note, that's a very high level, well, maybe not super high level, a little bit in the details, what we're thinking in 2023 that I wanted you all to know about because I'm super excited about that. And I will pass it over to Prerna for the next section.
Okay, so just to cover this really quickly, it takes a whole village to continue to build Meetup. And so wanted to share a little bit about how you can also help. Next slide, please. So first things first, we are hiring for both a PM as well as a designer to join the product team. We covered a lot of problems at Meetup. There are a lot of opportunities that go along with it. So we're looking for a PM to join our pro team and a designer to join, a contract designer to join our team to help solve some of these problems. So if any of this seems interesting to you, please definitely reach out to any of us on this call today, or you can check out our careers page and go there to apply. We're also hiring across lots of other disciplines. So it's not just product and design. And if you're interested, again, please check out the careers page. Okay, next up. We also know how critical organizer feedback is to making sure that we're building, both organizer and member feedback is critical to building the best experience possible. And so we're actively always recruiting participants for user research sessions. If you're interested in becoming a participant and providing your feedback before we've launched features, please use the link below. Emily's been dropping those links in the chat. So save that link, sign up, and we'll reach out if there's a research opportunity that we could use your help on. Next slide. I know that a couple folks in the chat have asked sort of where can they find more information about what we're working on, what we're building, what's gone out. So we have a blog that we are regularly updating with things that we are pushing out, our latest updates, our latest product releases. So please check out that to see what the team has been up to. Obviously, we do these sessions, but they happen on a little bit more of a longer cadence. To get more up-to-date information, the blog's the best place. To get also other information, we have a really vibrant Discord community. You can scan the QR code there if you're interested, but it's a really great place to meet fellow organizers, get tips and tricks from both those organizers, and we have mentors there as well, to really take advantage of Meetup and hear. You can also hear we're all in there as well, and so we're consistently taking in feedback and delivering updates related to Meetup features in the Discord community. So definitely join that if you're interested in networking and hearing from us on a regular basis. And I want to definitely plug in David Siegel's podcast. David is our CEO. He has a great podcast called Keep Connected, and brings on a lot of guests to talk about sort of community building and sort of how to approach connections in today's day and age. So definitely scan the QR code there if you're interested in checking out the Meetup podcast. Okay. And that's it for content-wise today. So if you have questions, which I think a lot of folks have had, definitely continue to drop it in the Q&A section on Zoom. And with that, I think we have about 15-20 minutes to answer some questions.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to move into the Q&A phase.
Okay. There's a question from Paul. He says, I love the group tipping idea. Do you recommend having funds go to personal bank accounts, or should I set up a business account for our group? Paul, that's a great question. I'll say this. I think do what's best for your business or for your group. Hard to give tax advice on this call, but I would certainly reach out to like a tax accountant if you have specifically a specific tax designation, then it may you might want to consider setting up a business account, but otherwise it's just it's a personal preference. Okay. Let's see. Ashley, I'm going to give this one to you. Bill asked, now that you've created event chat, does that mean you'll get rid of comments?
I think that's a hot topic. It's certainly part of a consideration. So when we thought about event chat, right, there's certain things that it does really well. It's real time, it's accessible across all the platforms, which comments is not. It's an older system. I know some organizers really love comments, but there are some things security-wise and compliance-wise that are out of date with them. So I think it's certainly a consideration to get rid of comments, and I know that it might feel like there's duplication between the two, but right now event chat doesn't have all the features that comments does have. So until we get to the point where we feel there's parity, it's not something we're considering in the immediate future.
All right, Rajib, I'm going to give you this next one. Nandi asks, I'm curious if you can give a simple non-legalese answer on how private our information is in private groups from being sold to outside companies and marketers.
Ooh, that is a good one. Bring it on, Prerna. Oh, bring all the tough ones to me. I love them. I don't know if I can give a non-legalese answer, but what I would say is that all of the data for the private groups are meant to be, they are private, other than how we are surfacing the groups to be exposed in a way that is as part of our terms and conditions. it's not really something that we are going and sharing as part as outside companies and marketers for private groups. It really doesn't apply here. These groups are private in nature. They're set up to be in that way. So I think the person that asked that question, if you can give me some examples of what you're looking to understand, I would be happy to better answer that. So I'm curious what the intent here is, because we do keep the information for the private groups private, and that is the sole intention of those groups.
JT, I'm seeing a couple of questions, so I'm just going to try to summarize. I think what I'm hearing from folks is asking about sort of ORGAT features and if they may come to web.
Sure. What specific features are people asking about? Do you know?
Yeah, I think it was kind of generic, but just like about some of the like marking people paid and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good question. Right now, those features are app only. And the reason why is because we really want to focus on things that like on the go features, right? Like that's the power of the apps. So we've been very intentional about what belongs more on the mobile app side and what would service both desktop users as well as mobile app users. I do want to make it clear, we're not saying desktop users don't matter to us, right? We love our desktop users. There's still a lot of desktop users. I also use the desktop for Meetup stuff, right? So I just want to make that clear. But when we're designing and building features, first we do think about what are features that are on the go, which will make things more convenient. And we invest in that first. And then our product development methodology is let's build it quickly, learn as much as we can, figure out what works well and what doesn't work well, then figure out how to scale that to the other platforms, because it's just very expensive to build a feature across all the different platforms. I hope that makes sense to folks.
Thanks, JT. All right. Let's see what else. So many.
I'll take one question that I saw, which is what does it mean by signal in the context? And I think this refers to notifications and signals that we met there. And so that's a great question. One of the things that Meetup does in order to find the best recommendations for our members is to match based on the interests that members tell us that they are interested in. But many members don't tell us the interests that they are interested in, but they show us this by the search, the different activity, even the events that they've joined and groups that they're part of. And they're, what I would say is there's implied and there's interpreted. And so what we use signals, when we say signals, we mean there's information that we can leverage to now give recommendations based on what is given to us. And sometimes when we don't have it, we look at the interest based on the groups, and we use that to give better recommendations on learnings. So these are part of our machine learning algorithms to determine other types of events that we can surface, as well as some level of randomization that goes into this as well, that goes into what we recommend and suggest. I think it's a great question. We use many different signals to be able to give recommendations, but I thought it was a great question.
Cool. Ari asked, is there a plan to allow for multiple speaker profiles? We often have panels. That is great feedback, Ari. And right now we did launch with one speaker profile, but definitely something we should consider. So I'll take that back to the product team and see what we can do about that. Okay.
I'll address a couple, Prerna.
Go for it, JT.
So Hammond said, still the app is still not accessible by visually impaired people. So accessibility is very important to us. I do want to state that publicly. So thank you for raising that. That's something we'll look into and see how in our testing process that we're also testing for it. Gil asks, would love it that all event organizers can mark people as paid, not just co-organizers. Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is something that I only learned recently. I think the short answer is we'll need to look into it. I think the current design and decision made, and again, I don't know the backdrop, but my understanding is organizers didn't want to give just anyone on their leadership team control over anything that has to do with money. They wanted more oversight over anything that has to do with money. So I will think about this. We might need to poll organizers to see how they think, right? Just because organizers told us this is what they want years ago doesn't mean that it's still applicable today, right? So we want to obviously adapt with the time, but that is a good question. Just want to acknowledge that.
JT, I'm going to give you another one, which is, can we please go over the app bugs and how often the app is updated?
Yeah, the app, our goal is to release something every 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer if there's like a big feature involved and we want to make sure we spend the time testing it. So it might be 3 weeks, but rarely do we actually not launch for more than 3 weeks. In terms of the bugs, there's always a backlog. What we do is we do prioritize bugs that come in through the customer support team. So just a little bit about how the sausage is made, right? We do meet every week and with our customer support team as part of our planning session, right? So every 2 weeks we meet to say, okay, what are our priorities for this week? And we always have someone from customer support there representing all of our users. And we talk about, okay, what are the bugs? How many people are affected about these bugs, right? Because if we just focus all our time on bug fixing, you will never get new features, right? So we need to balance the two. So what we do is we always allocate time to focus on the high priority bugs. The lower priority bugs, we do try to squash when things aren't as crazy and busy. But if there are bugs, and I'm pretty sure there are, please let us know. There's a link, I believe, that got sent out.
All right, I see another question here. Are there any plans to allow for credit debit card payments via Meetup? What we will say is I think all payments and processing types is we're looking into now, not just that. There's many different types of payments. And right now we are actively researching that whole realm and all capabilities. And we know they're very important. So whether it's, Venmo, whether it's other types of things that are more popular on an international scale versus just in the States, we're looking at all these different things to determine how we can expand on our current payment processing techniques as a whole. Prerna, I got one for you. How does the Meetup app for organizers affect the desktop website? I could have given it to JT, but
I think I'm going to give that one to JT.
All right, fine.
Okay, so underneath the covers, right, it's still the same. All of the data is still in the same place, right? So if you update something in any of the apps and you go to the web, right, it will be updated there and vice versa, right? So underneath the covers, we've made sure that every piece of our all of our different pieces, all our different apps, both desktop as well as mobile apps, are constantly talking to each other. As you can imagine, it's quite complex to do, but we do it anyways, right? Because we believe it's important to keep everything in sync. Now, as I mentioned before, some features are only available in certain platforms. This is because some features make more sense in certain platforms, right? Other times, this is our way of testing quickly. So again, building a feature for all platforms, very expensive, right? So what we want to do is make sure we build it right. So the way we do this is sometimes we would choose a platform, maybe it's the desktop, maybe it's the app. We would build it there first, learn as much as we can, make sure it's great, and then build it in the others. There will be some features that will always just be on certain platforms, right? For certain reasons, but for the most part, again, we're not trying to say one platform. We have one preference over the other.
And just to tack on to JT's answer, the idea really for us is we want to make it a seamless experience, right? Where if you start a task on desktop, you can finish on the organizer app. If you start something on the organizer app, you can finish it on desktop. Think of it kind of like, you know, when you start watching a Netflix movie on your TV and then you move it over to your phone. And so that's really what our goal is that, you know, you might be on the go and then you might come back home and you're on your desktop. So we're not there yet, but that is where our goal is to continue to move to a place where, you know, you have an event ID on the go, you can start a draft, but then finish it on your desktop. And that's really what we're really trying to get at. Obviously, I think that there's some deeper organizer work where we'll look to prioritize that on the web because you only have so much real estate on your phone to do some of those things, things like, you know, stats and whatnot. We might show a lightweight version on the mobile app, but then a much more robust version on desktop. So that's kind of the delineation right now. We're still in kind of a high growth phase for the organizer app. So not everything has been like fully fleshed out, but we're working on continuing to make both experiences on web and on the organizer app as useful for you as much as possible. And like JT mentioned, just being very intentional about what goes where.
Yeah, and to build upon that, I do see a lot of suggestions, improvements to existing features. I love to hear them, right? So please share. I like to joke to Rajib, it's job security for me. So the more work you give me, the more ideas you give me, the better job security I have. So bring them all.
Yeah. Sylvia asked a question and I want to make sure we cover it, which is, will there be enhanced safety features like background checks on attendees? So Sylvia, to answer your question, we don't have plans yet for doing anything kind of like a background check, but I do want to cover, it kind of highlights a really important topic that we don't get a chance to talk about, but is happening very much behind the scenes, which is trust and safety on our platform, especially as we've been introducing more and more sort of features like event chat. It obviously exposes ourselves to bad actors and more like sort of malicious sort of content being spread. So it's something that we're taking very seriously. And there's a lot that happens behind the scenes. We have an amazing trust and safety team that really does support ensuring that Meetup is a safe place to gather for everybody. But we also have systems and platforms in place that we're continuing to enhance and will have plans to continue to enhance in 2023 to make sure that this continues to be a really top priority for us. Even though, you know, you may not see it show up on a product roadmap, it's inherent in everything that we do. So I just wanted to make that call out that's an area that we continue to invest a lot in. And then as far as like product features go, anytime we are launching a new product feature, we're always thinking about sort of what the trust and safety implications are, and should we need to build, you know, additional moderation tools and whatnot. And that's both a combination of things that we can give to you as organizers to help moderate your communities and making sure it's a safe place to be, and then making sure that internally we have all of the tools we need to moderate and make sure that we keep as many bad actors at bay as possible. So thank you for asking that question. Super, super important topic, and wanted to make sure that we touched on it.
I know we're down to 3 minutes, so we'll probably be able to do 2 more questions. I think this question about regarding legacy past events, our group has been in existence since at least 2011 and has thousands of members and photos. How long much will this data will remain available? And right now, I believe this question really came because I talked about data archiving and things of that nature. Currently, we do not have any, we don't have, if you're concerned about those photos and those members or any of those things being lost, they will not be. They will continue to exist. We know that they're really important right now for all of our organizers and for members, and we do not plan on doing anything that would impact that experience. And so if that is a great question, and but for legacy past events, if there's anything there, we will ensure that they continue to stay at this moment.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Do my members have to reload the Meetup app once I have uploaded the organizer app?
Say that again.
Do my members have to reload the Meetup app once I have uploaded the organizer app? What I will say is if you have both apps, maybe JT, if you have both apps on your device, what does that mean? The member app and the organizer app.
Yeah, they're two separate apps, right? And again, one is designed for organizers, the other one is designed for members. Obviously, if you're an organizer, you can also be a member of groups, just like I am. So I use both apps. Right? But for very different intentions. So if I'm trying to understand the question correctly, so let's say I'm an organizer and I'm in the organizer app and I change something, I change a detail about my event, or I added a chat message, right? In the organizer app, if I go into the member app, I will actually see those changes in real time as soon as I've save the changes in the organizer app. So even internally when I'm testing, I jump back and forth between the apps, right? Just to make sure it works like that. I think that's the question.
And if not, if your concern and that question is if you're the organizer and you upload something there, are members on the Meetup app, do they need to do something different? The answer on that one would be no, they do not. That will load in the same natural way it has been. So I think on both sides, I think it's covered if that is a concern. But we always want to make sure that the experience for our members is always gracious as well as the organizers. I know it's 4 o'clock right on the dot. I think we had some fantastic questions and we were delighted to be able to present all this and wrap up 2022. Prerna, any last comments? JT, Ashley?
No, that's it. We're really excited for what 2023 has in store, and wishing everyone a really wonderful holiday.
All right.
Yeah, same. And I just want to thank special organizers. I want to just thank you for all you do, right? We know that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, which is why I want to make that work easier, right? And again, organizer app, it's still new, less than, barely 7 months old, but I am here to help continue to make it easier for you over time.
All right. Thank you, everyone. JT and Ashley, special thank you to you both. And of course, Prerna, for all your leadership. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our event. See you all soon, and happy 2023.
Thanks.